Well, it's now about 10:30 or 11 on Thanksgiving Day, and it's continued to snow off and on. And as you can see, there's approximately 2 to 3 inches so far. I made the tiny snowman, a little hat on top. This usually doesn't last too long, but sometimes it lasts a little bit. There's crews of people who coming down, who come around and knock them down. Not sure why. It's this is such an overarching Spanish culture. The Hungarian concept of Kris Kringle has different views. I guess, I don't know. That's my assessment. So we're just gonna walk down. I noticed that the wind has changed slightly and it's coming out of the essentially due east. I don't know what that means, honestly, but the Gulf of New Mexico storm meets Pacific storm, and that's possible because the pressure went up around 9 a.m. to about 30.7, I think, from 29.1 last night when I was talking about it in the video. And the snow stopped. Then he predicted rain, and I guess the air is still cool, so it's snowing. But this storm coming from the east, so it's a different storm. And they're predicting another one tomorrow to rain in the morning, and then snow in the evening as it gets colder, which will be awful. As you can see, there's no snow emergency or plowing in this city. There's so little snow that it just it blocks everything down. There's quite a lot of four-wheel drive people and pickup truck type people, but essentially it locks down transportation. And then they broadcast on the "Do go out, don't go out." But there's someone. It is an odd day to be locked down if you're going to a relative's home. This is inner city too, so we can only assume just outside of the city, 5 to 15 inches. So certainly chilled down people's Thanksgiving. I was cooking my turkey in the microwave. It seems to be going well. It's about done, and it's just doing the final, what they call the leave it in the oven and allow the heat to emanate through it. See that? How he slipped over? Very dangerous for a pedestrian. It's two-wheel drive. Property violence. There is maintenance and on-road maintenance, but they haven't done any clearing of the snow. And by tomorrow, there'll be ice in the stairs. So it really is like absent in the mind of the super radio that stimulates people to do what they're supposed to do. Do they have it in the budget? Is probably an unknown. I don't know. there's a person who works 9 to 5, needing to be on the budget. That's another question. It does take some fitness. So that was essentially why I tried to start a maintenance franchise back in 1990, simultaneously with the medical franchise. And I met with the doctors in New York, and I was practicing psychiatry, thinking about doing that, architecture, at the same time being a general contractor. And I would work on development concepts to be, instant contracts, but they just didn't pay. So I came with this concept of a maintenance, critical maintenance, and critical care, two paired concepts. And I would get the maintenance contract for their critical care centers, and then have the door open to anyone who wanted that. Home contracts, limited home contracts, so that type of thing. Snow removal or plumbing, or being the GC. It's kind of like being a PIP if you're a HMO person. The principal position is called PIP in HMOs, and they're like a general contractor, and they try to arrange things for you. And HMOs is kind of essential because a lot of the specialists are attached to hospitals or in other regions, and they won't talk to anyone except the PIP. So and the PIP arranges for the billing levels and the rate that you pay, and etc. It's kind of like a concierge at a hotel. So that was my concept. And here in this city, there's a company called TLC that was evolved. They even use the same trucking systems that I had invented at the time. So they have the urgent cares, and I showed you all over. And so the thief of my life apparently uses this as his den, or this Caldwell Banker, or radio, the Air Force, the Italian mob. It's hard to know. So you had the snow shovel, huh?
How you doing?
Great.
Thanksgiving.
Same to you. Oh, that guy, Sports Systems, that's the most expensive sport and fitness place I've ever been to. The pair of sneakers cost about $1,000. Their suppliers are Brunton Systems and Solomon. And they have Look bicycles, Cannondales, Specialized, and then we do custom. Wow, it's really like a on the East Coast, you know. So you get up early Actually, in Massachusetts, they have a huge budget that you can apply to. It costs, they call it a seasonal value of $27,000 to $35,000 flat fee for people with plowers, and you're supposed to show up at 4 a.m. at a designated site on a snow morning, and then they give you a route, and they go out and. Oh, it's that bogus. I mean, it's like the Bad News Bears or something. And they have a person in charge who supposedly went to the same college I did, but his father, and he did the construction of the library at the square, and there's buzzers in the library that buzz poor kids. And the current provincial and sponsor of Obama to the presidency was the vice president of Holy Cross when I went there. And in my first year, I did those things that Catholic students supposed to do, like work the mass issue and tried out the Eucharistic minister and all those things, and it got really bogus because they were buzzing me. I told this guy, who was the vice president, he says, "Yeah, well, that's the issue coming to a poor kid, and it costs money for protection." And so anyway, this guy named Perini also was the money man on all my contracts with the military. I never got paid. And the other person was Cheney, the vice president at the time. Well, in any case, they put him in charge of what they call capital asset management, a position I applied to from MIT, the #1 graduate of the #1 architecture school. It's a skill required job, and the requirement is being an architect. He is, supposedly, his father bought him a degree at the same college I went to, Holy Cross, but no showing of it. They used my budgeting system for all the military work and their own work that I developed in the 80s when I was at GC. That's a specific kind of unit system I developed outside of looking at the means catalog, which is a budgeting system, which is really like hard to understand. And so because the means catalog is so hard to understand, I developed this. Under the Clinton administration, they made it nationwide, a unit system, so that you can't go to any place in this nation and not find the same unit system. So if you're in a lower cost area, it's the same price. The oddity of the thing is, if you wanted to build an object that you could buy in the store, it's actually more expensive to build now than it was. It was about 30% when I was a contractor of what it cost to buy the object. But now it's cheaper to buy the object, both of which are too expensive. Well, anyway, I applied for that position. I was rejected. I had an interview with this guy named Mr. Williams, who is in charge of the state budget, a black man. And he's also in charge of all the forestry in the nation. They call it the Metropolitan District Commission. And he wasn't there. Some people said, "Oh, he's never there. We just called you in because, you're qualified and wanted you to see that it's impossible to really run anything." So they placed Perini as the chief of that, which is illegal to be in charge, be a GC, be in charge of all the capital asset management. He gives all the jobs to himself. What in that job is he's in charge of snow removal and handing out those contracts. Oh, that's pretty bogus. The Air Force gave him all this expensive equipment, and other people have to buy it. Oh, this reminds you of that. It's non-snow removal.